Hi everyone, welcome back to Air Guns in Review. My name is Dave Cole and I'm going to be your host today. Today I'm going to review the mrodair Airmax PCP Pistol in 177 caliber. However, I'm going to do this under the air conditioning because it's 97 degrees and it is sweltering. Feels like 105. So I'm going to go inside. We'll finish up there. The mrodair Airmax PCP Pistol is available in 177 and 22 caliber. The claim velocity of the 177 is 700 feet per second, shooting a .55 grain pellet. The pellet I will be shooting will be the RWS Meisterkugeln pistol pellets weighing in at 7 grams. The barrel is 9 1/4 inches long according to the manufacturer. The air tank capacity is 67.5 cc's. The maximum fill pressure is 240 bar or 3,480 psi. The working pressure is 110 bar or 1,595 psi. Actually, this is where the pressure quits working. This is the pressure where the regulator starts to fall off. The gauge on mine shows the red line to start at 200 bar or 2,900 psi. This is where I will fill the gun to start and where I recommend filling to achieve the best performance. Two things that will really help you with loading the gun is a pellet pin like this one and notching the grip so that the breech block can be rotated all the way over. I notch the grip with an X-Acto knife, removing a little bit at a time. The grip material is fairly soft, so if you take your time, it's easy to do. The pellet pin reduces your frustration when trying to load a pellet if you have a scope mounted and/or lack dexterity. Getting to the hammer spring adjustment nut and the second stage screw is very easy. Simply remove the two screws on either side of the grips. There are two metal backing plates that the screws tighten into. Remove the socket head bolt on the bottom of the grip and simply slide the grip. As far as the hammer spring, I tried several that I had and I wasn't really very happy with the results they produced. What I finally settled on was going back to the factory spring with the adjusting nut tightened to the point there was zero play in the spring and no preload. I also found that a wrap of Teflon tape on the threads of the adjusting nut helped fine-tune the adjustment and kept the nut from self-adjusting. As for adjusting the trigger breakpoints, I feel this is a matter of personal preference. For target shooting, I like a short travel for first stage and a light, quick breakpoint for the second stage. One thing to keep in mind, the second stage on this trigger can be adjusted to beyond the point of safety. Do not sacrifice safety for lightness. This is the first stage adjusting screw. It's just in front of the trigger. This is the adjusting screw for your second stage. Adjust your hammer spring tension to your liking first, then adjust this screw. Take care when adjusting the screw, it can be set too light and the gun could go off unexpectedly. This can create a safety issue, so be careful when making these adjustments. After getting the first stage travel and the second stage breakpoint along with the hammer spring tension like I wanted, I was able to get a respectable 1 pound 11 ounce pull. With some break-in and relubing, this pull weight should get lighter. As I said earlier, my primary use for this pistol is shooting steel silhouettes at 10 meters. But I thought it might be fun to see what kind of groups I would get with some of the other 177 pellets I had on hand. I put these targets out to 20 yards and shot some groups.
Final thoughts on the gun. Value for the money, 10, no question. For what you pay for the gun compared to what other guns cost in this same class is a 10. You can expect to pay 2 to 3 times and maybe even more than that for the same level of performance in a gun. In terms of accuracy, a lot of it is with the shooter. Keep that in mind. A $700, a $900, a $1,200 gun is not going to shoot itself. You have to be on the other end of it. You have to pull the trigger. That's the only way the gun's going to be accurate. So in terms of performance, overall, I've had this gun for a couple of months now, and I've shot a lot of pellets through it. It hasn't leaked. The gun has just performed flawlessly. You'll see other reviews that say the same thing. There's really no flaws in the gun whatsoever that I've seen. In terms of the speed and the accuracy of the gun, the speed, I didn't really score that. It shoots fast enough. Because I'm shooting 10 meter, it's really not something I look for. And speed is equivalent to power, and all I need to do is just get down to the other end of the range. Accuracy, however, I thought was exceptionally good. I'm going to do 9, 9.5 on it. 10 if I could have stacked one on top of the other, but then I'd be bragging on myself. So, you know, it's kind of a limbo area. 10, yeah, it could be 9. Let's call it 9.5. With the 20-yard accuracy, that's where I really kind of cut that down. I would have hoped maybe a little better groups with the H&N pellets, or for that fact, even the JSBs. It really surprised me the H&Ns did as well as they did. Normally, JSBs are the cornerstone for most pellet guns. That's what the gun will shoot the best. Those are just random pellets I had laying around, and there may be others out there that, quite frankly, shoot better. But I think it was those targets were 1.5 inches, so we're talking 3/4 of an inch, 10-shot groups, 20 yards. Not bad. That's going to take out, if you're hunting, or you wouldn't be hunting with it, but let's call it pest elimination. You're going to knock those little pests away, and at 3/4 of an inch, that's not a bad kill zone for 20 yards. But that's not my thing. I'm really looking for the gun to do 10-meter silhouettes. That's why I got the gun. That's why I intend on shooting with it. Noise level, that's going to be an 8, and that's not bad. I mean, 10 was, if I gave it a 10, you couldn't hear the gun go off. So let's give it an 8. It's not loud. You really couldn't shoot it in an adjoining room if somebody's wanting to watch television or sleep or something like that. It depends on the individual. But I think shooting in a basement, shooting in your garage area, shooting it somewhere where it really wouldn't bother somebody per se. You don't have to wear hearing protection, even in a confined or a enclosed area. It's not loud. It's not loud at the range. I don't hear the gun. I don't recall ever hearing it really bang. I've heard louder ones. So I would say that this is at least an 8. in terms of the sound. Not a reason to not buy it. You're not going to be able to shoot it in the living room while your wife watches television. That's not going to work to begin with. Doesn't matter how loud it is. She's not going to have that. In the area of trigger and cocking effort, if the trigger could have been 12 ounces or even less, I'd have scored a little bit higher. I'm going to have to give it a 7. 8 would have been in the 12. Lighter, really, all 10 meter match pistols down in the, at least 4 ounces, something like that. This gun could probably be made that light, but there's also a possibility of accidental discharge. There's a safety issue if you get it too light. So I don't want to sacrifice the safety. It's not a bad trigger. It's actually a very, very good trigger. Excuse me. But at almost 2 pounds or 1.5 pounds, it's probably more of a pest control type of trigger, a sport type of trigger, not really a match trigger. Consistency, we have to define consistency. Consistency is, I think, if the gun will do the same thing over and over and over with repeatable results, be it whatever, then I'm going to score this thing a 10 because it consistently gives me high scores in 10 meter range. I've yet to shoot a perfect score. I shoot somewhere in probably the 80% range, sometimes the 90 in terms of targets knocked down. I never have been able to do it with any other pistol. But this gun does it with great consistency and with the accuracy. There's not really, the error in that is really more with the shooter, me, than with the gun. So I'm very happy with it. I'm gonna give it the consistency. I'm gonna score it up there with a 10. In the appearance and finish department, I'm gonna score it a 6. Quite frankly, I mean, Snow Peak, if you're listening, what is it with green grips? I mean, come on, really? Green plastic grips? And I've never been one to judge a gun on how it looks. I'm more about how it shoots. The green grips, when I'm shooting a gun, I don't even see them, so it really doesn't matter. But seriously, I think the market would have been better if they'd have been black. It's okay to have plastic grips. A lot of my guns are plastic. But green? Really? Now I do know, and I have seen that there are some guys that have put the Hogue type of grip, slide the Hogue grips over this. It's quite challenging to do because they fit very, very tight, but it can be done, and it does help kind of diminish that. Also, a wood option would be really nice if you're a wood kind of guy, wood grip kind of guy, which I'm really not, but a nice set of grips would really make this thing pop. There's no doubt about it. But don't let that deter you unless I just got to have a gun that looks good. I don't care how it shoots. Then I would tell you do different. Okay, the overall value of the gun, again, I'm going to address that. I think that you cannot beat this pistol for the money. It's one of the best pistols that I've shot in terms of value, performance, accuracy, and all that. You know, I'm not a power hound. I'm not about that. It's if you're doing target shooting, if that's what you want to do, and the occasional pesting, definitely this gun is the ticket. It's scopable. You can put an optic on it. It's got a rail. Granted, I've seen where some people want to put open sights on it, and I don't really understand that. That's okay. That is for some people, just like putting a scope on it is for me. At least put like a red dot on there. It doesn't have to be a magnified, just a 1 power red dot. You're going to be much happier. It's going to be a lot more accurate. You're going to enjoy it a little bit more rather than try to fit open sights on this thing. Comes with field probe, O-rings. If you do the notching on the grip and get you one of those pellet pins, that's the hot lash up. It really is. But again, bang for the buck. 77, 22, both of them. Excellent, excellent pistols. You can't go wrong. So until the next video, guys, stay safe. Happy shooting.